कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं
श्रीरूपं साक्षात् साधनं
सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देव
कान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु
दीनबन्धु जगत्पते
दीनबन्धु गोपिका
कान्त नमोऽस्तुते
तप्तकाञ्चन सुते
हरिप्रिये सर्वेश्वर
नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य
प्रभु नित्यानंद गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर
हरे
भक्तवृंद
कृष्ण
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे
हरे राम
Hare Rama, Hare
राम
Rama,
राम
Rama
हरे
Rama,
हरे
Hare Hare.
Haribol, is it just me or were you breaking up a little?
Well, I wasn't sure if I could join in or not because I wasn't sure which prayer was happening because there were so many voices.
So is my voice is breaking, Mataji?
Well, I hear you now, but there was more than one voice happening, so I wasn't certain what prayer we were doing.
Okay.
I also don't know all of them.
Yeah, you can see that prayers in the introduction of the Bhagavad Gita, Mataji, so that you can recite with all together.
I'm very grateful to you. I have to find one. I have a Bhagavad Gita, but I usually listen to it in audio because my eyes are not very good.
Oh, okay. So today we are going to discuss the 11th chapter, 4th verse, and you can repeat it after me. Manyase yadi chakyam
Manyasi
यदि शक्यं
maya drashtum iti prabho
मया दृष्टुम् इति प्रभो
yogeshvara tato me tvam
योगेश्वर ततो मे त्वं
दर्शयात्मानम् अव्ययम्
दर्शयात्मानम् अव्ययम्
मन्यसे यदि मन्यसे यदि तच्चक्यम्
मन्यसे यदि तच्चक्यं
मया द्रष्टुम् इति प्रभो
मया दृष्टुम् इति प्रभो
परा ततो मे त्वम्
योगेश्वरा ततो मे त्वं
दर्शयात्मानमव्ययम्
दर्शयात्मानम् अव्ययम्
मन्यसे यदि तच्चक्यम्
मन्यसे यदि शक्यं
मया द्रष्टुम् इति प्रभो
मया दृष्टुम् इति प्रभो
योगेश्वरा ततो मे त्वम्
योगेश्वरा ततो मे त्वं
दर्शयात्मानमव्ययम्
दर्शयात्मान अव्ययम्
Any one of you like to recite the verse?
मन्यसे यदि तच्छक्यं
मन्यसे यदि तच्चक्यं
द्रष्टुमिति प्रभो
मया द्रष्टुम् इति प्रभो
ततो मे त्वं
योगेश्वरा ततो मे त्वं
दर्शयात्मानमव्ययम्
दर्शयात्मानमव्ययम्
मनस्ये यदि तच्चक्यं
मन्यसे यदि तच्चक्यं
मया दृष्टुमिति प्रभो
मया दृष्टुम् इति प्रभो
योगेश्वर ततो मे त्वां
योगेश्वरा ततो मे त्वं
दृष्ट्या आत्मनम् अव्ययम्
दर्शयात्मानम् अव्ययम्
मन्यसे यदि तच्चक्यं
मन्यसे यदि तच्चक्यं
मया दृष्टिम् इति प्रभु
मया दृष्टुम् इति प्रभो
ततो मे त्वं
योगेश्वरा ततो मे त्वम्
दृश्यात्मानम् अव्ययम्
दर्शयात्मानम् अव्ययम्
So I got it loaded. I found a large print version of the Bhagavad Gita on my phone. I want to try to find the verse that we're on. I don't know if it'll let me do a search for it. I have a search window here.
So if anyone would like to share the link of the Vedabase to the Mataji in this chat window, that will be helpful for her.
But let her search for it. She might find it in that phone right now that she's already.
I'm very grateful to you for helping. If you know the number of the verse, I might be able to search for it in the book because I found it on my phone in large print.
Yeah, it's 11th chapter, 4th verse.
Let's see.
And the link is also pasted. The Prabhu pasted in the chat window. You can see there. Okay, we'll go for word meaning. Manyate.
Manyate.
You think.
You think.
Yadi.
Yadi.
If.
That.
Sakyam. Is able. Maya. By me.
Drashtum. To be seen.
Iti. Thus. Prabhu. O Lord. Yogeshwara. O Lord of all mystic power.
O Lord
of all mystic power.
Tataha.
Then may unto me you
Darshaya.
Atmanam.
Yourself. Avyayam.
Itam.
Translate and purport by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The translation: if you think that I am able to behold your cosmic form, O my Lord, O Master of all mystic power, then kindly show me that unlimited universal self. Purport: it is said that one can neither see Prabhu, can you mute all? Supreme Lord Krishna by the material senses, but if one is engaged in loving transcendental service to the Lord from the beginning, then one can see the Lord by revelation. Every living entity is only a spiritual spark. Therefore, it is not possible to see or to understand the Supreme Lord. Arjuna and the inestimable position. Arjuna could understand that for a living entity, it is not possible to understand the unlimited infinite. If the infinite reveals himself, then it is possible to understand the nature of the infinite by the grace of the infinite. The word Yogeshwara is also very significant here because the Lord has inconceivable power. If he likes, he can reveal himself by his grace, although he is unlimited. Therefore, Arjuna pleads for the inconceivable grace of Krishna. He does not give Krishna orders. Krishna is not obliged to reveal himself unless one surrenders fully in Krishna consciousness and engages in devotional service. Thus, it is not possible for persons who depend on the strength of their mental speculations to see Krishna. So very beautiful purport, and this, let's see the purport in stages wise. We'll take some part of purport, and we will discuss. So at the first part of the purport, it's saying that it is said that one neither see, hear, understand, nor perceive the Supreme Lord Krishna by material senses. But if one engaged in loving transcendental service to the Lord from the beginning, then one can see the Lord by revelation. So let's discuss these two. So it's clearly saying neither we can't see, hear, understand, and perceive by the material senses. So regarding this, there is a verse in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It says, Ataha Sri Krishna Namadi na bhaved grahyam indriye sevon mukehi jihvadav swayam eva spuradhyataham. So what this verse is saying, no one can understand the transcendental nature of the transcendental nature of the name, form, quality, and pastimes of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, through his material senses. Those are contaminated. That's what it's saying. But how can we get how can we perceive the Supreme Personality of Godhead? When a conditioned soul is awakened to Krishna consciousness and renders service by using his tongue to chant the Lord's holy name and taste the remnants of the Lord's food, the tongue is purified and one gradually comes to understand who Krishna really is. So this was very clearly saying, Sevon Mukehi Jihvadav. Jihva means the tongue. Sevon Mukhe means we need to engage the tongue. And what will happen by engaging the tongue? Swayam eva spuradhyataha. So gradually that's what Prabhupada said in the purport, like one can understand the Lord by revelation. So this is the process. It's not one day or something. It takes stages by stages. And this verse clearly says, by purified, the tongue is going to get purified. So first, this verse, this purport is saying, with contaminated material senses, we can't perceive the Lord's form, name, quality, and pastime. But by engaging in Krishna consciousness, we can perceive Krishna's personality. So that's the part of the purport. Next, we will go ahead. Every living entity is only a spiritual spark. Therefore, it is not possible to see or understand the Supreme Lord. So, and Arjuna as a devotee does not depend on his speculative strength. Rather, he admits his limitations as a living entity and acknowledges Krishna's inestimable position. So, if this verse is again saying, like in every living entity is a spark. And it's saying it's not possible to see or understand Supreme Lord. So how can we understand then Supreme Lord? So by again, for this verse, there is a verse in Shvetashvara Upanishad saying that Yasya deve para bhaktir yata deve tata guru tasyaite katitahi arthah prakashyante mahatmanaha. Only those great souls who have the implicit faith and the Lord and the spiritual master, they get the Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. So to see that even though we engage ourselves in Krishna consciousness, we need a guide. So we need spiritual authority, spiritual teacher, and one should have the implicit faith and the Lord and the spiritual master. So then they can get the real knowledge revealed. So that is the why, like here it says that when we can't understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead as we are a spark, but Arjuna as a devotee, he completely dependent on Krishna, and he didn't any speculated that knowledge, like he want to go in authority way. So that's what Prabhupada is insisting here. We need a strength, like we need spiritual master shelter to understand Krishna. And going ahead, it says Arjuna is surrendering. He is understanding his limitations. He, as a spiritual spark, he knows what he is, and at the same time, he knows who Krishna is. So that's why he is asking in a humble way, like if you think I am able to behold your cosmic form. So the way how Arjuna is expressing, it's like it's kind of humble way he is telling, if you think I deserve it, like that. So when can we get that kind of thought? When we realize who we are and to whom we are asking and what we are asking. So that is the thing, like so far in till 10 chapters, all the thing Arjuna is a lot of times he he's a friend to Krishna, and he didn't take it as a granted, like, oh, okay, come on, do this like that. No, but because he understood who Krishna is. So he's asking him in a humble way. He knows his as a spiritual spark, he's limited, and he knows the unlimited potency of the Supreme Lord. So that's the thing, the position in front of the Supreme Lord, we need to take the submissive position, knowing ourselves who we are and who Krishna is. So going ahead, we'll see Arjuna could understand that for a living entity, it is not possible to understand the unlimited infinite. So Arjuna knows he is limited, he is finite, and Arjuna is telling it's not the finite can't understand the unlimited qualities of infinite. So then how can he get? Prabhupada gives very nice sentence. If the infinite reveals himself, then it is possible to understand the nature of the infinite by the grace of the infinite. There is nothing is there finite can do. Only thing is submissively surrender, because the infinite himself has to desire to reveal himself, and then only it is possible to understand the nature of the infinite. So who says about Krishna? Krishna has to reveal himself. For this one, by the grace of infinite only we can understand. So in the case of pastime of Dhruva, then Dhruva he did austerity for the material benefit. But when Lord Narayana appeared in front of him, he don't know what to speak. He don't know anything. Just he stood he just he don't know what to speak. He was speechless and full in ecstasy and nothing, can't able to speak anything. He don't know how to glorify the Lord too. So what happened? God, the infinite God touched his conch shell to the forehead of the Dhruva. That time, so he revealed himself by the grace of the infinite Lord. Then Dhruva started glorifying the Lord. So in all the pastimes, other pastimes also, we can see the mercy of the Lord is there. The endeavor is there. The devotee is going to endeavor for his mercy, but ultimately the mercy of the Lord, the mercy of the infinite is going to deliver or reveal himself, what the infinite is to the finite living entity. So that is the thing, this sentence, if the infinite reveals himself, then it is possible to understand the nature of the infinite by the grace of the infinite. So that's how Arjuna is, Krishna revealed himself in front of the Arjuna, and then only, even it's not completely universal form he's going to show now. But until unless Krishna shows to that universal form to Arjuna, so he is with the grace, with his grace, Krishna is revealing in front of Arjuna that universal form. So that ultimately by his mercy and grace of the infinite, the Lord, then only we can perceive his name, form, qualities, and pastimes. And going forward, we will see some pastime too. The next, the word Yogeshwara is very significant in this verse. The meaning of the Yogeshwara here is, Prabhupada is described as inconceivable power, all powers of mystic. So what is that Yogeshwara? Bhagavan means the Yogeshwara is inconceivable power. The inconceivable, the word, it is one aspect to define the Bhagavan. So as Krishna is here called as Yogeshwara means, so in Bhakti Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami says, the Bhagavan, he defines the Bhagavan as one, he says that one inconceivability is one aspect to define Bhagavan. So what is the real meaning of Bhagavan is Bhagavan, 3 words. So Bha means one who fully maintains. Ga means who is the creator and leader and guide. And Van means everything, every being lives in him and he lives in every being. So this is the complete meaning of Bhagavan. So to define that Bhagavan, this inconceivable power is one aspect. So we are all known the pastimes Krishna lifting the Govardhan hill, that is inconceivability, nobody others can do. And Krishna appearing in all the palaces of his wives, 16,108 at a time. And as a pastime, he revealed this one to us also, as Narada one-to-one check, like where Krishna is, and he traveled all the palaces, and Krishna doing different duties in each palace at a time. So this shows this his inconceivability, and no, like there is nothing, no one can do all these things, and there are a lot of inconceivable pastimes like this. Then that is the why the Yogeshwara is used here. He is like inconceivable power. And if we'll going back to the purport, if he likes, he can reveal himself by his grace, although he is unlimited. Therefore, Arjuna pleads for the inconceivable grace of Krishna. So the word pleads, so it makes begging. Pleading means it's like, I want, literally, even if I don't deserve also, like, please give me, like, some kind of request or begging, that kind of word, that like that mood is there in Arjuna. He's begging Krishna, like, please show that form to me. And next he says he does not give Krishna orders. So yesterday Prabhu mentioned devotees don't give orders to Krishna, but he want to see him. So that is the thing. So devotees don't give orders, but they love to see Krishna. That is the thing. He's pleading Krishna to show his inconceivable grace on him. So that is the thing here. And one more thing here we can see, we can't, as I said, like, to see Krishna, like, we need to take the associations of devotees. So when what we want, it defines how we are approaching to that path. So if we have a goal to see Krishna, then how, in which path we are going, and to whom we are associating is going to very important impact to reach our goal. So when to perceive Krishna, or to know about Krishna, we have to take association of the devotees who are completely dedicated towards this goal, who dedicated their lives for the Krishna. So taking association of the people who dedicated their lives to Krishna's preaching, and who glorifying Krishna through their body, mind, and words. So it says in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, I want to quote one verse: Iha yasya hariyadase karmana manasagira nikalaswapi avastatu jivan muktaha savuchyate. So this verse is saying a person acting in the service of Krishna consciousness with his body, mind, and words is a liberated person, even in this material world, although he may be engaged in many so-called material activities. So it means that this verse is giving, we can live with Krishna even living in this material world. So what is the thing is, body, mind, and words, we need to engage in Krishna consciousness. Then he is considered as a liberated person. Jivan muktaha sauchyate. So he is liberated. And although outwards he looks like he is doing the material activities, but he is in a position of liberated state. So coming back to the purport, Krishna is not obliged to reveal himself unless one surrenders fully in Krishna consciousness and engages in devotional service. So Krishna is telling here, he can reveal ones who surrender fully in Krishna consciousness. So what is the surrender mean? So surrender means, in Haribhakti Vilasa, there is a steps given how to surrender to the Lord. It says, Anukulesha Sankalpa Pratikulasya Vachanam Rakshashiti Vishwaso Gotrupte Varanam Tata Atma Nikshepa Karpanye Shedvidha Sharanagati. So how can we surrender to Krishna? It defines there are 6 steps. So Anukulasya Sankalpa. So Anukula means favorable. Sankalpa means desires. So when in the Krishna consciousness, whatever favorable situations which are favorable for our devotional service, we need to accept them. And second step is Pratikulasya Varjanam. The actions or the situations which are not favorable for our devotional service, we need to reset them. Third one, Rakshashiti Vishwasho, considering full conviction, Krishna is going to protect us. He will give protection. Rakshashiti Vishwasho. This is going to happen like at this present coronavirus situations. Definitely we need to take shelter him. He is definitely going to take us. He'll give protection to us. So this is the third step. Rakshashiti Vishwasho. Fourth one, Gotrupte Varanam Tata. One should accept him as a master or a guardian or a mentor. So we need to accept him as a master. And the fifth one is Atma Nikshepa. One fully surrendered to the Krishna's will. So the person who is surrendered means he has to live according to the Krishna's will. And the last one is Karpanye, with humility. So these are the 6 steps. Shadvida Sharanagatihi. These are the 6 ones which is called as Sharanagati. So now Prabhupada given until one surrenders fully in Krishna consciousness and engages in devotional service, then Krishna reveals himself. So how to surrender? Defined in the Hari Bhakti Vilasa, these are the 6 steps. Now going forward for the next line of the purport. Thus, it is not possible for persons who depend on the strength of their mental speculations to see Krishna. Very, very important point. So, for persons who depend on the strength of the speculation, might be like this, or without any scriptural authority, so thinking and speculating is not going to help to see Krishna. So, related this one in Bhagavatam, and there are the verses spoken by Lord Brahma in 10th canto, 14th chapter, 3rd verse. So Brahma says this verse. So how the speculation is not going to make us to see Krishna. So I'll just read the verse. Jnane prayasam udapasya namanta eva jivanti shanmukaritam bhavadiyam vartam stane stitakshrutigatam tanuvan manobhir ye prayaso ajita jitopi asitais trilokyam. The translation, those who even while remaining situated in their established social positions throw away the process of speculative knowledge and with their body, words and mind offer all respects to the descriptions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead activities and dedicating their lives to these narrations, which are vibrated by the pure devotees, certainly conquer your lordship, although you are otherwise unconquerable by anyone within the 3 worlds. So this is spoken by Brahma. What Brahma is saying? It says that one, by body, words and mind, your glories are glorified by the pure devotees. They can only conquer you. And you are unconquerable in the 3 worlds. No one can conquer you in these 3 worlds. So, see, Ajito Jita. So, devotees are conquering Lord who is unconquerable. It means that not throwing away all the speculative knowledge. So, through speculation, unless they throw away all the speculative knowledge, they can't pursue the Lord. Clearly, it's saying the Brahma, Sthane Sthitigata, stay in your established social positions, maybe Grihastha, maybe Vanaprastha, maybe Sannyasa, wherever you are, Brahmachari. But we need to follow engage the body, minds and words, always in glorifying the Supreme Lord. Then one can conquer the unconquerable one. So it's a very straight, instructive word. We need to stop all the speculative knowledge and engage in the devotional service. So, and in the same chapter, there is a verse called, verse number 29. It says, how can we attain the Krishna's mercy? And so this verse goes, Atapi te deva padambujadvaya prasada leshanugrahita evahi janati tattvam bhagavan mahimno chanya yekopi chiram vichinvan. So this verse is saying, even if one favored by even a slight tinge of the mercy of your lotus feet, he can understand your personality. But those who speculate to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead are unable to know you, even though they continue reading Vedas for many years. So very clearly it mentioned, Atapi te deva padambuja dvaya. So padambuja means the lotus feet. Dvaya means two. Prasada leshan. Lesha means very, very slight, very tinge. Prasada, the mercy of the lotus feet. Grahita evahi. Whoever gets the tinge of the mercy of your lotus feet, they can understand your greatness and your personality. But the Janati Tattvam Bhagavan Mahimno Nachanya Ekopi Chirambi Chinvan. So whoever reads whoever goes the speculating and understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead by reading Vedas for many years, they can't understand you. So that very clearly this speculation is cleared in these two verses by Brahma. So this is the purport of this verse. So I want to summarize what I discussed so far, and after this one, I want to discuss one pastime. Let's see, I spoke first. The purport is saying we can't see, hear, understand, perceive the Supreme Lord by these contaminated material senses. So until unless I quoted the verse, Sevon Mukehi Jihvado, until unless we engage our tongue in chanting the holy names and the tasting the prasadam, once they get purified, gradually we perceive or we realize or we can become in contact with to see Krishna. And next, we need to understand our limited spirit, limited capacity, and we need to understand the infinite potency of the Supreme Lord. When we humble ourselves in front of the Lord by His infinite mercy, by His mercy only, we can understand the Supreme Lord. So if the infinite reveals Himself with His grace, the finite can understand the greatness of the infinite. And the word Yogeshwara here is used very significantly. The meaning is inconceivable power. And regarding this one, I quoted Jiva Goswami tale Bhagavan, Bhagavan. Bha means who fully controls, and Gha means the mentor, guide, and Van means everything lives in him and he lives in everything. So that is the Bhagavan, Yogeshwara. And Arjuna is pleading here. So he is taking the humble submissive position to requesting, if you think I can pursue, I can behold your cosmic form, so please show that form to me. So the pleading, the submissiveness for the devotee in front of the Krishna is important. And although this point is described in 4th chapter 34th verse, Tatvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnanina sattvadarshinaha. In this verse, there are 3 qualities required for the disciple when he goes in front of the spiritual master. One is pranipata, pariprashna, sevaya. Pranipata is humbleness, pariprashna, inquisitiveness, and sevaya is devotional service. So with these 3 qualities, when one have complete faith on the Lord and the spiritual master, he can perceive the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then after that one, we discussed about the speculative knowledge. Then we discussed 2 verses. One, the persons who get even slight trace of mercy of the lotus feet of Krishna, they can understand the greatness and his Supreme Personality. But the people who speculate and read the Vedas many years, they can't even understand the personality of the Godhead. So this is the verse I discussed, and in this verse in this purport, Prabhupada is bottomly, it's, overall it's saying we need to engage in Krishna consciousness, all our senses, take the guidance of the spiritual master, and understand our position and the Lord position, and don't speculate. Those are the 4 things. So related these things, the faith and the spiritual master words and the Lord, I want, as Ram Navami is, we are going to celebrate think after tomorrow. So related from Ramayana, I want to discuss related to this situation one pastime. So you all know the pastime of Shabari. So Shabari is a girl from the tribal area. She want to know about the dharma, so she started like a sage called Matanga Rishi, and she went and asked, "I want to become your disciple." And Matanga Rishi accepted her as his disciple, and she served Matanga Rishi. And when Matanga Rishi about to die, that time Matanga Rishi gave a boon to, I mean, blessings to Shabari, saying that when the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Ram, is going to come to you to see you, please wait for that moment. Then Shabari, from that time onwards, keeping the faith and the words of the spiritual master, she started keeping one place separate for the situation when Ram is going to come, Supreme Lord Ram is going to come. And she started worshipping that place, cleaning that place, decorating that place. Every day she brings fruits, every day she brings flowers, arrange water for the Lord, washing for the lotus feet of the Lord. And she watches the pathway when Lord Ram is going to come and bless her. So it happened every day. And next day it happens again, she removes and she cleanses the place. Again, she rearranges everything and she waits. Then day passes, day passes, day passes. So day to day, as it's passing, Lord is not coming. The faith of in her heart about the words of her spiritual master is not shaken. She is completely faithful to her spiritual master, and she that the sub like the devotion in her heart started increasing day by day in waiting for the Lord Ram's presence. And she completely believed on the words of the spiritual master, and she is waiting, and she is she lived in her thoughts only to see the Lord. When he will come, don't know. Which way he'll come, don't know. But she started seeing Lord Ram literally in every way, in every day, in every moment. So days passed like this, and by the time when Matanga Rishi gave these blessings to Shabari, that time only she was in old age, and day to day she is getting older too, and she want to see the Lord Ram, but at the same time she knows that when spiritual master gave the word, definitely Lord Ram is going to come to her. So with that one day what happened, and I saw this, I heard this some poetic way, some poet wrote like this. So I'm from South India, so I heard in childhood, like, when Lord Ram comes near to the Shabari's hut, the kutir, then all these flowers, water nearby, whatever she gathers, the fruits, the creepers, the surroundings of her hut, everybody making noises, giving hint to Shabari like Lord Ram is coming. So the poetic way he wrote very nicely, saying that the water started flowing, and the flowers blooming, and the creepers and the birds are chirping. So she was a old lady, so seeing that different kind of nice atmosphere, all these are good signs. She felt something like going to happen. So with that one, with that mood, like she started going to see the pathway. Then two people are walking towards her hut. Then definitely she understood it's the Lord Ram only. And when Lord Ram comes, as usual, the same place which she worshipped every day, and she dreamed, she dreamed she want to keep make Lord Ram to sit on that place, and she did everything to serve every day to Lord Ram. So now today it happened, he's directly doing to the Lord Ram in real. And she washed his feet, and she offered flowers, and she collected berries, and every day also she tasted. If it is good, every day, even Lord Ram was not there also to that place. She tastes, if it is good, she keeps in the bowl. If it is not good, she throws. Same thing she did that day too, to due to the Lord Ram. So her devotion is too connected to the Lord, and her devotion was so sincere, her desire was so sincere. Even the lot of sages in the aranyas, they want to see take the darshan of Lord Ram, but her heart sincere desire pulled Lord Ram to her heart. So Lord Ram came to Shabari, and the unit, the time, the situation when devotee meets the Supreme Lord, it's really amazing to see this kind of situations from the scriptures. So this story, why I'm discussing this story related to this purpose is the faith, the waiting time, the patience. So one of the qualities of devotee is patience. That's what Rupa Goswami says, Utsahas Nishaya Dhairya. So we need to be enthusiastic, confidence, and faith, patience. We have to be patient. Like, you know, that's how like Shabari waited so many days to see the Lord Ram. In the same way, taking Srila Prabhupada too. So he met his guru in 1922, and he got like official initiation in 1932. And at this, and when he traveled to America, 1965. So the period, the overlap period from 22, very first sight, he got his instructions from his spiritual master. But he executed that, he's starting to execute that instruction is the starting step. It's happened in 1965. Between that 43 years, Prabhupada lived in the, like, you know, on that instructions. Like he has taken the spiritual master instructions as a life and soul. He lived in that one, the patience. Okay, it's no discouragement, like always positive patience. And it's not easy. Even Prabhupada also gone through materially lot of things in this period, in that period. It's not a smooth way. He was calm and did everything. No, he gone through a lot materially, but still he did like, you know, that 43 years he lived meditating on the Guru's instruction. So that's the thing, like, you know, we need to be very patient, very faithful. We have to increase in our sadhana, these two, and submissiveness. So we need to humble ourselves in the senior, with in front of the seniors, or in front of any Vaishnavas. Humble is, that's why surrender is also comes. One step is karpanya means humbling we need to submissively humble ourselves in front of the devotees. And these three things, like faithfulness, we have to be faithful on our spiritual master's words and the Prabhupada's instructions. Through his books he is giving instructions. Then patience, we have to be patient. We have to be patient, because that is the thing we need to learn all this from this pastime Shabari and Srila Prabhupada thing. So that's what, like, I want to share. As it is Rama, like, you know, Ramanavami, I took this story to connect to the faithfulness and the spiritual master's words. So I'll stop here. If anybody have any comments or any corrections or questions, please go ahead. Thank you.
I thought this story was so beautiful.
I
This
know,
was so
I loved it
beautiful.
too. And I have a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
So we heard this story also when we were children. You know, my grandmother also loved Lord Ram stories. But there's a nice touch to it that Lakshman, Lord Ram's brother, was appalled that Shabari was tasting the berries and giving it to Lord Ram. But Lord Ram, because of her love, accepts it and eats it, and then he gives it to Lakshman as prasad, and he has to take it because Lord Ram ate it.
Hare Krishna. Yes. Okay. So that's correct. Her devotion is so high. So if mother is there, so if the child and mother want to feed to the child, so without tasting, the mother can't feed. It's a small baby. If you consider the baby can't speak. So if elders means we can tell like salt is more or spicy or something. But if a small kid is there, so the mother is not going to feed to the child whatever she is feeding without tasting, right? So it, in the same way, the love of the mother towards the kid is, it's a high, like, you know, it's a peak in time. If the mother is going to give to deal with the elders, she can give like, you know, okay, you can eat, you can express your desire, you are talking. But when she is feeding to the small kid who can't speak, who can't express anything, definitely the mother is going to taste it and feed it. So in the same way, the Shabari's devotion is too high on Sri Ram. The way how she lived towards that waiting time, that see, Lord has the plans to increase our devotion towards him. So Lord Ram, see, he is in everywhere. He might have blessed very early to Shabari also. It's up to him. He can do anything. But the waiting period made the Shabari's love increased so much towards the Lord. So she want to give the best to the Lord. So in that love, she forgot she should not offer the tasted food to the Lord. So, but her love is so pure that she want to give the best to the Lord. So that is the thing made Shabari to taste, check, and give. So this is my understanding, Prabhu. So if anybody would like to add more to this, please go ahead.
I have a somewhat funny story. I was at a temple once and I asked a woman, what if I feed something to Krishna that's awful? And then I'll feel bad. And, she had said, well, sometimes I taste just once, just to make sure that it's not horrible. If I'm worried it might be horrible. But she said, don't worry too much, but it's good that you're worried about it, but you don't need to if you're giving it with love.
Yeah.
It's the love he's interested in. Yeah. That's what I think anyway.
Yes, Mataji, that's so true. Love behind. Even in the case of Madhavendra Puri also, when he went to the Gopinath temple, just seeing the kheer, the Kheer Chor Gopinath is there, the pastime, right? Just looking the kheer and listening the words, everybody say that this is the special prasad which we are going to offer to the Gopinath. Immediately he got a desire. Can I taste it? He didn't got the desire. Can I also offer this one? No. He want to taste it so that he can prepare that kheer to the Gopal in Vrindavan. So by getting that desire as a devotee, pure devotee, he felt so inconvenient. See, he felt very bad. I should not think like that, the prasadam which is going to offer to Gopinath. So feeling so uncomfortable with the thought, he left the place before the offering. But the Lord left the prasad for the Madhavendra Puri. So same thing here too. But there Shabari tasted. Here just devotee got a thought. So just to taste it so that I can prepare and offer. So between these two stories, what can we see? The pure love, they want to give the best to the Krishna.
I have a thought, and please correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm just starting out with studies.
Yes.
But I just have always felt like with all of these practices and methods and austerities, the purpose I've always felt was to cultivate love for Krishna and to make him the happiest possible. So I think about the stories of the gopis and how they broke so many traditions, but their love was like they couldn't breathe without him. It was like they achieved the purpose for all of the studies. It was love for Krishna. And I'm just, maybe I'm theorizing, and if I am, I'm sorry.
No, but right, Mataji. So the ultimate goal for the soul or conditioned soul is to attain love towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is called Krishna Prema, Prema Bhakti. So that is the word, the love which is called like Prema. The Prema is the supreme, the topmost level in the Bhakti. So in the devotion, there are the stages like Ado Shraddha, Tataha Sadhu Sangha, Anartha Nivrutti, Nishta Ruchi, like that. There are the stages. The last stage is Prema. That Prema on the Supreme Lord is the ultimate goal for the human being.
Thank you very much.
I know, but we shouldn't take Shabari's love and the gopis' love on a sentimental level, though, right?
Yes, Mataji.
Could you explain that more for me, please?
Pyari or Jiva, you want to take that?
I want to make certain that the love I send him makes him the happiest possible. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. But Someone want to explain that better?
Okay.
What difference between sentimental and, like our love may not be at the level.
Okay, so that the love, the sentimental love is like, it's like a bodily attached love. Mainly, we need to take care of physical connections of a family or something. But the ultimate love, like, the connection between the Supreme Lord and the soul. So that love is that's what, like, sentimental love. There is a difference between prema and the kama. So that is the thing. We need to understand that prema towards the Supreme Lord through the scriptures, through the pastimes. We can't imitate the pastimes, but we can follow them in their footsteps. Like, that's what Mataji is saying. We can't take them their love as like a sentimental love, or like just like, Krishna is looking beautiful or that they are loving. No, it's not a sentimental love. They felt like they realized that Krishna, that's the thing, that love has to come from the realization. That's what Mataji is going to say. Is it right, Mataji?
Yeah, and we also have to follow the Pancharatrika Vidhi, the regulative principles.
Yes.
I mean, that kind of love. Lynn, is that Lynn who was speaking earlier?
My name is Billy Lynn.
Oh, Billy Lynn. Billy Lynn, that kind of love, we have to understand, doesn't come as easily
Yeah.
in our conditioned state, So we shouldn't take it so sentimentally that, oh, we are in love with Krishna. We have that kind of love within us. Not that you cannot obviously lovingly offer something to Krishna, but we have to understand that we are, when we start our process of devotional service, that we are not at that level. We should take that humble position and understand the process by serving Guru and Krishna and serving devotees who are already at a greater level than us, who can teach us to get to that level.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does, and I'm very grateful to you for explaining it to me so clearly. I think that I've struggled with my own internal psyche. I live, and please interrupt me if this is something that's incorrect to discuss in any way, but I've lived in isolation for a long time, in a way that is mandatory. I should probably leave more often, but it's very difficult because I can't see very well. So I've been relying on Krishna for company, and it's been filling me a lot with what I need to feel like. I don't know how to explain it. It helps me feel like I can be on the earth. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I mean, in a sense, in your isolation, you have connected so nicely with Krishna. I mean, obviously, we cannot judge anybody's, love for Krishna, and it's wonderful that you have taken your situation and dovetailed it towards connecting with Krishna, which is really wonderful to hear.
But I've still had feelings of, like, I look at Radha, and at the very beginning, I felt frustration, and I said, I'm so sorry, Radha. This is very good energy to send to you. So I looked at her, and I started to think of every loving exchange that I could between Radha and Krishna, because I knew that I had these feelings for Krishna, and I felt horrible about it. And I kept thinking, I will think of Radha and Krishna together very happily. And I kept feeling more and more love for Krishna. So then I said, well, I better think of each gopi with Krishna, because this is incorrect. I kept thinking each japa bead was a gopi that was with Krishna. And I would send as much energy as I could, and then I would feel tired, and then I would fall asleep. I couldn't even get through the whole set of them because I would focus on each bead as if they were a gopi that was with Krishna.
So we are told that the conjugal love between Krishna and Radha is of the highest level, and only the greatest of sages who have reached that level can really contemplate on that. So we really should start by contemplating devotional service at Lord Krishna's lotus feet, and read the scriptures from the very beginning, like starting with the Bhagavad Gita, and then the Bhagavatam and the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and follow in the footsteps of how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us how to serve Krishna. So start at that level, and understand that the conjugal love for Krishna and the love between the gopis, it's some of the greatest of sages even do not dare to discuss that matter because they feel it is like so at such a high level, of such a high transcendental level that we cannot really discuss it at our level. So we should start with just service oriented mood and not so much that conjugal love mood in the beginning. That's my understanding. Anyone else wants to comment on that?
I want to say I'm very grateful to you for your explanations. It's very helpful. Could you explain that? I don't know if I understood what you're trying to say to me.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for wonderful class. I have a question. If it's too long, you may not answer. That's fine.
No.
During the class, you mentioned regarding Srila Prabhupada that Srila Prabhupada met his spiritual master, and then there was a time, but he followed his instruction, and there was an instruction when he met first time. But not all devotees may be fortunate enough to receive such instructions from their spiritual masters. So for those such instances, what would you recommend for those neophyte aspiring devotees? What should be their mood and how should they progress in their Krishna conscious life? Thank you.
Okay. So its instructions means that it's not directly giving like, face to face or something you do like that, but spiritual masters mood is there, and they will through their talks, through their books, they reveals their mood and their instructions. And through Prabhupada is giving instructions through his book. By reading his books, we understand what Prabhupada saying how to be in Krishna consciousness. Sometimes instructions comes not in person, through the books or through the talks or through the senior devotees. And if we need to understand the thing, and we can get instructions not directly from the spiritual master, sometimes we get from the God brothers, sometimes from the senior devotees. So following that thing, following the Prabhupada instructions through his books, living according to the will of the spiritual master, that is the one. Whatever we are doing service for the pleasure of the spiritual master and Krishna, that's how we can please them. That's what my understanding.
And we can start by reading the Bhagavad Gita, which is the first set of instructions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's the starting one. Whenever we are starting, we can read some other small books of Prabhupada too. But the Bhagavad Gita first, then Srimad Bhagavatam, then goes the Chaitanya Charitamrita, as Mataji mentioned.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu.
And Srila Prabhupada always said that the Bhagavad Gita is a complete book, that all the instructions are there actually in the Bhagavad Gita, especially for this age of Kali.
This group makes me very happy.
So anyone has anything to share? Or
No, that was a wonderful class. Thank you so much.
thank you all, Mataji. Thank you all.
This is so good.
Okay, sure. Prabhuji. Then you got the question, Prabhu? You got it, Prabhu? I'm not seeing in participant chat window.
He's still typing, I think.
Okay.
Madhukanta Prabhu wrote that he's typing the question.
Mhm.
Can someone confirm if Radhika is typing or Madhukanta Prabhu is typing?
I'm going to
Oh,
jump.
looks like he's having trouble typing too.
There is if
I
you
know.
press the microphone, you can speak into the phone and it might help you.
Hare Krishna, Madhavkanta Prabhu here.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
But there's an echo.
Now can you hear me, Mataji?
Yeah, much better, yes.
Yeah. No. Thank you, Vallabhi Gopi Mataji, for this nice lecture. So I'm just trying to connect that develop love for Krishna or Lord Ram to the practical life. And in the current material world, spiritual master is the external manifestation of Krishna. In our regular day-to-day settings, when we go to temple, we associate with the devotees, Shiksha Guru, even non-devotees. So question is, so my understanding is developing love for Krishna starts with developing love for devotees first. Okay. Developing care for the devotees first. So what are the practical ways that we should start building that love and care for devotees around, and also I think eventually the non-devotees too? That is my question.
Thank you, Prabhu. So I'll share my thoughts, but please, I'll leave the audience to think and share their thoughts too. So as you said, like developing love towards devotees is important, and serving them is also important. So one thing you can see Krishna in everybody. In that way, you can develop the compassion towards the other devotees too. Like if you are serving them, means you are serving Krishna, or if you are doing something to them, means you are in service of Krishna. So seeing Krishna in everybody, it makes us to think of Krishna, and in that way we will develop love in the practice. Not all happens in a gradual way, but seeing Krishna in everybody is going to help us to increase that compassion towards the others. Like that's why we greet each other Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Like we call Prabhus and Matajis. That's why Prabhupada established even verbally also the connection between the family. So it's not only like yes, Prabhu, you're telling something.
Yeah, Madhukanta Prabhu, Vallabhi Gopi, I feel also if Krishna is the center of your life, then we feel everybody is connected to Krishna, and obviously we love everyone, If we see everybody as family, if Krishna is the father, then everybody is a brother and sister, and we love everybody in the family. So if we make Krishna the center of our lives, then we have to love everyone as part and parcel of Krishna.
Yes.
I was having an interesting conversation with another devotee about how do I send the devotees of God my love and healing energy? How can I send them my love when I'm living here and I can't be with them in the physical world? And I was thinking about, I said to them, I was looking at images on the internet of devotees and I was sending loving energy. And he had suggested sending the love to Krishna, and then all of the devotees would feel that love because it's really all borrowed from Krishna anyway.
That's a wonderful thought. Yeah, that's very nice.
But
I
that
like that.
visualization of the devotee in our minds being sheltered, just imagining Krishna there with the devotee. Any devotee, you can think of Prabhupada, you could think of your child, or you could think of your neighbor, whether they know Krishna or not, being enveloped in God's love. It cultivates that love for all humans, in my opinion, because you love Krishna. So seeing this person in your mind's eye and visualizing them with Krishna, I feel like that would be able to cultivate that love we want for the devotee of God, because they're like a gateway to him. They're like the knowledge or the library, and they are the portal to him on this earthly plane. Even though he's everywhere, I feel like the devotee is the doorway to Krishna. So we must love them.
That's right, Mataji. So,
Yeah.
who is it? This is going. Is it okay, Prabhu? So, as the time is going up, so can we? It's already 10 minutes past. That can end up the call, Prabhu. So, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Anantoti Vaishnavindhi ki
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada
God
ki
ki
jai.
jai.
Thank you all so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.